right, for Buckeyes Now on Sports Illustrated, I'm Brendan Gulick. Boy, what a fun afternoon. The Ohio State Buckeyes and Indiana Hoosiers just wrapped up, and Ohio State played what I think was perhaps one of its most complete games of the season. Final score 78-59, and a game that Ohio State, obviously got off to a great start in. When you have a 19-0 run in the early part of the first half, and take at one point it was a 21-6 lead. Certainly you're off on the right foot, but I think, Indiana showed that, look, even though their record isn't great, they're 10-9 overall, and a team that, has some pieces and certainly has some talent. They've beaten Iowa twice. But boy, Ohio State is just so efficient on the offensive end right now. It's hard to beat the Buckeyes when they're playing the way they're playing currently. And Indiana, they had all their mistakes magnified. Ohio State scored a boatload of points off Hoosiers' turnovers. And frankly, I was really impressed with the way Ohio State mitigated the Indiana run that they ripped off. Because when you go up 21-6, and at one point in the first half, kind of late in the first half, really, the Buckeyes led 31-15. Maybe you can get a little complacent or lose your edge. Maybe that's a better way to say it. While still respecting your opponent, you go up by 16 points and things are clicking, and it's hard to really maintain that same level of tenacity on offense. And there were a couple of moments where the Buckeyes didn't convert on the offensive end, and maybe the defense slipped just a little bit. But again, going back to the mitigating idea, they did a really good job today of, not letting Indiana go on some crazy stretch to really put the game in jeopardy. The Hoosiers brought it back to a 5-point game at one point. I know it was a 7-point game in the first half. But again, I just thought Ohio State's depth and offensive efficiency were way too much today. So really impressive win. I want to give you a look at the box score in case you haven't seen it yet. We can continue to talk about how well the Buckeyes played. And if you have any comments, feel free to drop them along the way. Would love to interact with you and kind of hear your analysis and your thoughts on what went down today in Columbus. So here is a look at the Ohio State stat line for today, the box score. The thing that really jumps out to me, boy, it's more, I guess, let's go into this page here. 1.258 points per possession. I mean, you want to talk about offensive efficiency. That is unbelievable efficiency from the Buckeyes. If you're averaging more than 1.1 per game, and I've talked about this quite a bit, that's elite. And they're closing in on 1.3 points per possession, and that's becoming routine now. That's not just a flash in the pan. We've seen this several times from Chris Holtmann's teams here this season. I just, you try to figure out how you're going to beat a team that is that efficient offensively. It's a really tough task. Indiana really struggled this afternoon turning the ball over. 15 turnovers, and it turned into 21 Ohio State points. The Buckeyes crushed Indiana on the offensive glass. They had 12 offensive rebounds, and they turned those 12 offensive rebounds into 20 second-chance points. Justice Suing and Zed Key were a big part of that. So, when you put in those kinds of stats into the equation, I just look at those and I think that's effort-based. Right, on the defensive end, Ohio State's effort level was tremendous for most of the game, and offensively, they're not the kind of team that's relying on one person. How about this? Justin Arns, 19 minutes. He got into foul trouble, had 4 personal fouls. He only had 5 points all game. I'll try to blow this up a little bit so maybe you can see it a little bit better. Justin Arns, 5 points on 1 of 4 shooting. That's not a typical game for him, right? I mean, he is scoring, close to three-pointers per game. He only took 4 shots today. Some of that was the foul trouble he created, but Chris Holtmann talked in the postgame press conference about, part of the reason for Arns' success today, outside of what you'd see in the box score, teams have to respect him, and so he creates extra space on the floor. I think Justin Arns today was part of the reason why Justice Sueing had such a good game. Sueing got to the rim almost at will. 16 points, 10 rebounds, another double-double for Justice. And coming off a game against Maryland where he didn't score a point, I continue to be so impressed with Justice Sueing. He is embracing playing several different roles for the Buckeyes, and I just think he is, he's kind of the Swiss Army knife of this team right now, and looked really good. Kyle Young had, perhaps a bit of a down game offensively. Only scored 8 points, only had 7 rebounds, but that's only maybe in comparison to what we saw from him the last couple times out, where he's had 34 points in these last 2 games combined. Kyle played phenomenal defense, especially on Trace Jackson Davis. I know Jackson Davis had 23 and 9, but he just never felt like he was that impactful, especially early on. Young's defense against him was terrific. I thought Kyle Young hedged the screens really, really well, and then recovered to not allow someone, an open pick and roll or pick and pop. Young's impact today was well beyond what you'd see as offensive numbers. And again, to the point of the Buckeyes' balance, they scored 78 points. They shot 48% from the floor, and they had 4 different players in double figures with nobody over 20 points. EJ Liddell had a really good game at 19, 6 for 12 from the floor. Dwayne Washington had a good first half. He scored 10 points in the first half, but didn't really shoot it much in the second half. Didn't have to. Loved what we got from CJ Walker in the second half in particular. Zed Key was a monster today. When you have 6 points and 8 rebounds over 13 minutes, that's really earning you further playing time. I once again go back to the toughness level for this team, and just continue to be impressed by, even though they're going to be undersized compared to some of the biggest teams in the conference, this Buckeye team plays as tough as anybody. On the Indiana side, I thought one of the pivotal points in the second half was when Jerome Hunter picked up a personal foul and clearly didn't like the call. And then all of a sudden picks up a technical when he said something to the official. That came at a stretch where Indiana was starting to creep back in just a little bit. And from that point on, Ohio State ripped off an 8-0 run and ran away with it. And I think that just kind of took the life out of Indiana. So, look, the statistics for the Buckeyes were good again. They hit 17 of 19 free throws. They continue to be one of the best foul shooting teams in the country. Only 7 3-pointers, but largely a good day. You shoot 44% from behind the 3-point line for the game. Nothing wrong with that. And 48% from the field is fine, especially if you only take 56 shots in total. But to me, it was really about their defense. It was the way that Ohio State capitalized on Indiana's mistakes. They set the tone early with a nice early big run, and then kind of survived what you've kind of come to expect with this team, and certainly in college basketball in general. It's a game of runs, and the Buckeyes did a good job of making sure that when Indiana got hot, they didn't get hot for too long, and it wasn't insufferable. So just all in all, a really, really good work from the Buckeyes in that regard. And now you've got 5 games left in the regular season, and it starts at Penn State on Thursday. The Buckeyes still haven't played Michigan yet. That's coming up next weekend. In fact, a week from tomorrow. I think a lot of Ohio State fans are paying attention to Michigan to see just how well could Michigan play after more than 3 weeks off. They're going to play tomorrow against Wisconsin, and that's a game that a lot of people around the Big Ten are paying attention to. Buckeyes still have to play at Michigan State, which is a tough place to play, and the Spartans are fighting to get back into some relevancy. They've got a lot of talent, but have certainly faded a bit in the Big Ten this year. Ohio State still has to play Iowa again and Illinois. And when you close the season with 3 of your last 4 games, Michigan, Iowa, and Illinois, I'm not sure if there's any better prep for the Big Ten tournament and for the NCAA tournament than playing those 3 teams. So all in all, a really impressive impressive victory for the Buckeyes today, and one that I think Ohio State should feel good about. Well, that's a little too small. Let's try a different look. There you go. Now you can see the stats a little bit better. A win that the Buckeyes should be proud of. A game that I think they can keep building some momentum with. They've proven that no matter who they're playing in the Big Ten, that they're ready to go. They've got enough matchup problems because everybody seems like they can shoot it. And Ohio State's going to make you really earn it if you're going to go play 40 minutes against them. So a good win for the Buckeyes. It's 9 out of 10, 6 in a row, and the only regular season meeting with Indiana goes Ohio State's way here this afternoon. Final score 78-59. All right, so hope you enjoyed another good game this afternoon, and frankly, this is a day that I think the Buckeyes feel good about, and enjoy the rest of the night, and then maybe take a day off. I think you've got to try to stay as fresh as you can, and then turn your attention to Penn State, because the last thing you want to do is go on the road to Happy Valley and not play your best hoops. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'd love to have you back regularly for more Ohio State content, and certainly check out BuckeyesNow.com. We stream live all of the post-game press conferences, so if you missed Chris Holtman or Zed Key or Justice Suing today, we've got you covered on our YouTube channel there, and certainly over on the website as well. And we'll make sure to give you all the latest on your Buckeye news and information. I'm Brendan Gulick. Enjoy the rest of the weekend, and we'll talk to you again real soon. Ohio State wins their 6th in a row. Today's final score, 78-59.